This is my driver ratings for the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix. So, a crazy race considering it's Monaco, and another heartbreaking race for Charles Leclerc after strategy cost him his race. But this is not a race review, so without wasting any more time, let's get into the driver ratings. So starting with P20 in the race, Kevin Magnussen. He had an average weekend, but he had to retire the car through no fault of his own. He gets 3 stars. Let's go to P19, Mick Schumacher. So he had decent pace as well, but then he had a crash. Like the commentator said, it was his engine braking that let his rears lock up, but at the moment he's causing a lot of damage, and that is costing the team a lot of money, and he gets 2.5 stars. In P18 we have Alex Albon. He retired but had good pace and would have been in the midfield pack if he didn't get that puncture, and after the second race start he had incredible pace. He gets 3.5 stars. Now going to P17, Yuki Tsunoda. He went deep into turn 1 2 times and then made an extra stop. He was also way off the pace. He gets 2 stars. Let's go to P16, Zhou. He struggled a bit and made a few mistakes, but he had a crazy save. He gets 2.5 stars. In P15 we have Nicholas Latifi. He was the first driver to go off. He was very inconsistent with his lap times and was off the pace. He gets 2.5 stars as well. Moving on to P14, Lance Stroll. He was also one of the first drivers to make contact with a wall and was far behind, but the red flag brought him back into the pack. His pace compared to his teammate wasn't terrible. He gets 3 stars. Next up is P13, and that was Daniel Ricciardo. Well, it's fair to say he has a big problem. I don't see him continuing at McLaren for much longer, as he gets destroyed by Lando Norris almost every race. He was way slower in qualifying and also way off the pace in the race. He gets 1.5 stars. In P12, Esteban Ocon. Now, I am going to give you my opinion on the incident of Lewis Hamilton, and this is only my opinion. If you don't agree with this, let me know in the comments down below and I will respond to every comment. But I don't see it as his fault, to be honest. It was pretty clear if you have the lead, it's your corner, and I felt it was pretty clear he was in front, but he still received a 5-second penalty, and that lost him P9 in the finishing order. But he had good pace in the race. He gets 3.5 stars. In P11 we have Pierre Gasly. So after bad luck in qualifying, he had to start from the back and had to try something different, so he went for the intermediate tires before anyone else. And like we saw later on in the race, if you go off the dry line you lose all of your grip, but Gasly managed to get a decent amount of overtakes and he gets 4 stars. Now going to P10, Sebastian Vettel. He had a pretty average weekend, like I said, pretty similar pace compared to Stroll, and he had a great qualifying session. He gets 3.5 stars. Now P9, Valtteri Bottas. It was pretty clear the car didn't have good pace here compared to some of the other tracks, but he still managed to get P9. He gets 3.5 stars. Going to P8, Lewis Hamilton. He is probably the most controversial driver in my videos, with some of my comments saying I rate him too high and others say I'm rating him too low, but let's get into it anyway. So we didn't manage to do a push lap in Q3, but I don't think he would have made up many places. And then in the race, like I said, Ocon was leading into the corner and Hamilton just sent it down the inside. His pace was slower than his teammates, but we didn't see him in clean air, so I'm giving him 3 stars. Next is Fernando Alonso in P7. He showed off his experience in the race, keeping a 7-time world champion behind him while going 3 seconds a lap slower. Just went fast enough when needed, and that really damaged Hamilton's tires, allowing him to finish 5 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. He gets 4 stars. Now going to the top 6. In 6th place we have Lando Norris. He had a great race even though his car was way off the pace, and he finished less than 2 seconds behind Russell. He gets 4.5 stars. Moving on to P5, George Russell. He keeps his top 5 streak and the only driver to do so, again doing good in qualifying and showing good pace in the race. He gets 4 stars. In P4, the home hero Charles Leclerc. He was the fastest driver on the track for most of the race, but his team's strategy cost him the race. He finally scored points in his home race though. Looking back at the entire weekend, Charles was flawless in qualifying and in the race, but like I said, his team cost him the win. He gets 5 stars. In P3 we have Max Verstappen. He was slower than his teammate the whole weekend and had pretty similar race pace to Perez, but he couldn't beat him. Max gets 4 stars. In P2 we have Carlos Sainz. He was also almost part of Ferrari's bad strategy calls, but he refused to stop and then got him into P2. He gets 4.5 stars. And then in P1, Sergio Perez. I do think the Red Bull was slower than the Ferrari this weekend. He made a single mistake in qualifying but was so fast in the race. He gets 5 stars. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.